10.5 months ago, I was stood just a few yards in that direction, filming David Jenkins, a pilot with the Wildcats aerobatics display team, fly for a press event to promote the Old Buckenham Airshow. Everything seemed fine until he entered a left roll that he never pulled out of. At 2:41 on that clear afternoon, his plane crashed into a field just a few hundred yards behind me. David, who was British Advanced Aerobatics champion in 2012 and 2013, was killed instantly. The report into his death was published today. It revealed the 61-year-old had what it calls a serious and undiagnosed heart condition. Earlier that day, he'd been treated to a flight in an RAF Tornado, but showed no signs of any health issues.
He was very excited, top of the world. We met him there. He flew up in his own aeroplane and we met on the ground there. He had an amazing flight. We saw him when he landed. He was on top form. And then we set off ahead of him to come and meet you guys on the ground at Old Buckenham, and then he was going to catch us up. So the last I saw of David was waving goodbye to him as we taxied out at Marham, and he had a big grin on his face. He'd had a great day.
The report, published by the Air Accident Investigation Branch, says there were no mechanical faults with the Extra 360 plane that David was flying on April 22nd last year. Instead, the crash appears to have been caused by what it calls inappropriate control inputs, potentially caused by a clot in an artery that supplies blood to the heart. It's described as a serious medical event requiring immediate intervention, and adds that it's possible that the pilot became incapacitated at a critical stage of the flight. That means the highly skilled pilot wouldn't have been able to recognise the danger he was in or react properly to it.
He didn't need to come and tell you that he was one of the best pilots there's probably ever been. Didn't need to do that at all. He let the flying do the talking, and on the ground he was just a gentleman and a friend.
I thought it was an amazingly thorough report and actually supports some of the thoughts I had on the day. We were both there at Old Buckenham about a year ago when the accident happened. And I think myself and many of the people that have seen David fly on countless occasions thought there must have been some level of incapacitation, because as we saw, there was no attempt to recover from the spin that eventually led to the accident. And that's pretty much what the report that's published today confirms.
The Old Buckenham Airshow went ahead in July with the support of David's family. There, crowds observed a minute's applause, and the two remaining Wildcats pilots flew a special display in memory of their friend. But the death of one of the UK's most skilled pilots is still being keenly felt by those who knew him best. Mark Summers, Mustard TV, Old Buckenham Airfield.